folks, how's it going? Today, I'm doing a quick vid about Glitch's newest animated pilot, The Gaslight District. For those who don't know, Glitch Productions is one of the premier YouTube channels on the platform, and they create high-quality animated shows such as Murder Drones and Digital Circus. But now we have a newcomer on the scene, one that looks a bit more slimy and green compared to the rest. Talk about a hard act to follow with Digital Circus. But Gaslight feels both unique yet familiar to the Glitch brand. Something with lots of world building, interesting characters, a mysterious story, and of course, a good dose of edginess via a girl main character with dorky tendencies. Now, I had to remind myself immediately that Gaslight should not be judged via comparison with Digital Circus tit for tat. Yes, same studio, but different shows. And visually, we see that right out the gate. But what about the story? I've seen some constructive criticism thrown towards Gaslight, and I kind of see where people are coming from. Now, for what it's worth, to see something of this caliber be just for free on YouTube is mind-blowing. I can't overstate that enough. But let me try to share with you all my overall thoughts on the newest member of the Glitch family. So who are the people behind the Gaslight District? I already mentioned Glitch being the folks on the production side, but the creator, writer, and director of the series is Nick Zapko, aka Part-Time Seagull. But I hope I said your last name right. I looked it up. I did from an interview. I think I got it right. Zapko. It's a cool last name. I remember seeing a 2D trailer for Gaslight back in November of 2022. So it's incredible to see Nick's creation go the distance and translate incredibly well into the 3D computer animated world. Spoilers ahead, but I'll try to give a quick synopsis for context. Out the gate, we find ourselves in a post-apocalyptic world. Was it nukes? Was it God? Was it the orange? Who can say at the moment, but there seems to be a divide between the denizens of heaven, quote-unquote, and hell, quote-unquote. I say heaven and hell, there's like a heaven in this universe, and there's like Gaslight District, which is like purgatory. There is definitely a partition between these two settings, is what I'm trying to say. Kind of reminds me of BioShock with the setting, the more I think about it. But I digress. The denizens of this world, aka rotlings, are immortal, which, hey, sounds good on paper, kind of sucks in practice when you think about it. What's that? You can't die? Okay, well, here's your cement shoes, and you will be rotting at the bottom of the ocean floor alone and in pain for the rest of eternity. Have a good time. You got this crime family of what is essentially zombies. Breadhead, the lovable but dopey muscle. Mud, the wisecracking, slimy gangsta. Ken the Butcher, the big daddy boss who's loud, anger-prone, yet has a tender side for his daughter, Melancholy. Mel here is a little gremlin who is quirky and a little headstrong. Oh, and spoilers again, an actual human in hiding, and a well-kept secret. Well, not too well kept, but enough to where we can clean up the messes. From what I can gather from the pilot, a human must die in order for a prophecy to be fulfilled that would end the zombie human's immortality or something like that. It's like a 10,000 year rotation or some kind of cyclical thing, I think. I don't know. I watched the pilot twice and I'm still trying to catch up. This narrative is a lot, along with the world building, so I would say this to you all, buckle up or you might miss context. Even if you are paying attention, you still might miss some context, so watch it again. So what are my overall thoughts about the Gaslight District? Well, it's easily the most ambitious scope for a series we've ever seen from Glitch up to this point. The commitment to world building for Gaslight is extremely cool and detailed. I went back and scrubbed through the pilot, and there's just so much to dig your teeth into when it comes to the setting and its visual grandeur. Character designs are memorable, they're dark and slightly gross. Kind of harkens back to the stop-motion films of Henry Selick and some of Laika's movies like Paranorman and Coraline. But it distinctly has a grungier quality to it, which kind of reminds me of Oddworld the more I think about it. Well, Odd World, singular. Everything looks like it feels gross in the best way possible. And slimy and green and rotting. Oh, and the action scenes, especially The action sequence with the car chase at the start reminds me a lot of the dynamic action from Studio Trigger. So hey, good stuff. Also, the textures in Gaslight District are truly dazzling because they closely mimic stop-motion armatures. Like Mel and her dad more closely match that vibe. So when you watch them, move, you kind of catch that feeling and vibe. There were moments I forgot it was even CGI I was watching. But I would say that the biggest issue was pacing. I really wanted it to slow down so I could, get to know the characters a bit more. But the pacing was so frantic that you couldn't fully appreciate the amount of craftsmanship that went into each shot. I went back and rewatched parts of the pilot at a slower speed with YouTube's little, cogwheel, and that allowed me more time to process what's going on in each scene without missing the punchiness of the action. Again, I would have liked to see more one-on-one interactions between the 4 leads. These are fun characters with strong personalities and chemistry, and we see some of their teamwork involved in stealing the egg, but not enough to get to know them more on a personal level. I'm sure that future episodes will take more time to roll out the characters and give them the spotlight, but as far as the pilot goes, it left me a little wanting on that front. I will say this, dividing segments up into separate acts or chapters was an interesting way to frame things. I think it inadvertently made the pacing seem even faster. To make it clear, the pacing is not bad, but it's quick, since there's a lot of ground to cover with the world building and the story. So hey, again, don't blink. Gaslight District is well crafted with a strong sense of style and lore it incorporates. I just mostly wish it would have slowed down just a bit more. Now, I will say this, I am curious where they'll take things from here on out. That ending was a cliffhanger, but the direction of where to go from here felt somewhat ambiguous to me. But hey, I have faith in the team behind this series. So in conclusion, I can't overstate how incredible and rare it is to see such a high standard of quality from Glitch and their shows. This is homegrown stuff, people, and it's just unprecedented. It even surpasses cartoons from the actual industry itself. On top of that, Glitch takes incredible care of their artists and workers. I've been to their studio before. Their passion is contagious, and there's a reason why they continue to find success. They know how to place trust in their creators and take care of their people. As far as Gaslight District goes, I am very interested to see more. There's definitely a big world here to explore, and I'm hooked on the story and the characters. Half the battle when it comes to these things is just building intrigue for the viewers and leaving them hungry for more. And I think it's safe to say they have accomplished that with the Gaslight District. And they have merchandise to boot. Ooh, look at that. Look at that Mel plushie, so cool. Gaslight is probably the most interesting and unique animated pilot I've ever seen on YouTube. So here's hoping it can go the distance and find itself right up there with Murder Drones and Digital Circus. But hey folks, those are just my overall thoughts. What did you all think? Tell me down below in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.